Tourism has become one of the fastest growing economic sectors in the world, and it is often linked to development. It is also an important driver for socio-economic progress. Globally, the tourism value chain is a trillion-dollar industry that interconnects many subsectors, providing employment for millions of people and serving as a major contributor to national GDPs. Sadly, Africa only accounts for 4% of this market. At the 66th meeting of the UNWTO Commission for Africa, which held between the 26th and 28th of July 2023 in Mauritius, Nigeria was elected into the Executive Council of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. And as Vice Chair of the Commission for Africa. This is a major step for Nigerian tourism, and it confers huge advantages for regional and global visibility. As it came on the heels of the election of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, this new development offers Nigeria another window of opportunity to showcase the best of her culture and diversity to the rest of the world. The announcement by President Bola Tinubu of the creation of a standalone Ministry of Tourism and the appointment of a substantive minister to run the ministry is ample proof of the genuine intention of his administration to recognize tourism as a viable avenue for Nigeria's economic growth and for the development of the industry. But how prepared are stakeholders to tap into the huge potentials of this industry? This is our focus today. Thank you for joining us once more. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. Before our conversation starts on repositioning tourism for economic growth, let's take the news update. In today's fast-paced and complex world, leaders must continuously refine their decision-making skills and practices to ensure they stay on the path of peak performance. This is the main thrust of the Policy, Strategy and Leadership course, PSLC 47, holding at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, Kuru, Jos.
The question we ask ourselves, what are our values as a nation, first of all? What do we value? And basically, the goals, the objectives of any government will naturally be around what the leader values.
The participants were encouraged to use the knowledge gained from the training and bring it to bear on their respective organizations for improved service delivery.
Sure. The place that for leaders to succeed, they need to know where they are going and have a plan to accomplish their desired goal, how to get there. It's one thing to know where you're going. It's a different thing to have a strategy to get to that place. So I provided them with skills and tools that will help them draft out clearly where they are going and how they can get there strategically.
The course drew participants from across the country and from across the public and civil service of the Federation.
I applied for this course earlier on in the year, and just before I came here, I was approaching it with a lot of trepidation because I wasn't too sure what to expect, because having to spend 1 month away from work, away from family, meeting new people, sincerely, I was a bit scared, to say the least. But we're halfway, just over halfway through the course, and it's been an awesome experience. It's something that I would always want all my colleagues in my office to attend. It's something that reshapes your thinking. I can't even overstate the commitment that I have to my colleagues that I've met, the new friendships and the new and forged relationships that we have here that, for me as class president, I'm certain that it will last a lifetime. So,
actually, the experience has been so marvelous. In fact, I'm so excited to be here because I have learned a lot. The main reason why I'm here, as I'm leaving this place to my workplace, a lot of things are going to change based on the experience that I have acquired here so far.
The cost has embraced me with modern tools that has to do with policy, strategy, and leadership. I think I now have better knowledge of how to go about issues in my office. Issues relating to mentorship of my subordinates, issues related to how I can motivate people. And by going back to my organization, I believe I will be more efficient and better in putting my own quarter into my work.
My expectation before I come to this place, I wanted to be a rallying point in my organization when it comes to policy analysis and leadership training. And by so doing, I equally wanted to be a strategic thinker. And by and large, my 3 weeks or so that I have been here, I have, let me say, to the glory of the God, I have met my expectation. And I'm happy. I'm going back to my organization as with a new thinking, with a new knowledge, and I will go back as a mentor to others so that they will come and join the cause.
The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, has a mandate of capacity building for Nigerians towards a better society. Lydia Odijochi, NIPSS Policy TV. Welcome back. Let's go back in history. The first tourism board in Nigeria, known as the Nigeria Tourism Board, NTB, was established by Obasanjo's regime in 1976. It is now known as the Nigeria Tourism Development Corporation, NTDC, via Decree number 54 of 1976, reviewed to Decree number 86 of 1991. This gave it a preferred sector status, respectively. The government of Nigeria further took some measures towards promoting the travel and tourism sectors, which includes the establishment of the Presidential Council on Tourism, Federal Ministry of Tourism and its departments and agencies with same at the state level and local tourism committees, which falls in line with the provisions of the National Tourism Policy NTP of 2005, the Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation NTDC of 1992, and the Nigeria Tourism Development Master Plan of 2006. However, it has been observed that tourism in Nigeria is still in its formative stage. This is evident in the large accumulation of untapped resources and the institutional structure which is yet to be regulated to compete favorably with other fast-growing tourism destinations. Today, tourism is a major source of income for many countries, and it affects the economy of both the source and host communities. Tourism is also an important and vital source of income to many religions and countries. It has significant potential as a driver for growth for the world economy. It is the main source of foreign exchange for 1/3 of the developing countries. As the federal government seeks for other ways to generate revenue aside oil with domestic tourism, which is 6 times larger than international tourism and constitutes more than 70% of tourism markets, it is hoped that with the necessary drive from all the stakeholders, this will result in the increase of inbound tourism. Our guest today is Sir Gabe Honor, a certified UNWTO destination manager and tourism digital marketer, pioneer tourism advisor, Cross River State Tourism Initiative. He is also chairman, Cross River State Carnival Commission, organizers of Africa's biggest street party, we all know as Calabar Carnival, a consultant of tourism and visual culture, carnival arts, policy, and intergovernmental liaison, and life coach. It's obvious you can tell us all we need to know on culture and tourism. Welcome to the program, Sir Gabe.
Thank you.
Now, why do you think tourism is important to Nigeria at this time?
Firstly, since COVID, the world has been very troubled. Again, COVID did not spare any sector of the economy, even though hospitality and tourism were the worst hit. But the quick gains and the quick recovery are found in tourism. And since tourism is life, tourism is love, tourism is sharing, tourism is traveling, and tourism is sharing. The warmth of a people and the open arms of a people, for which I hasten to say, which is why God created Cross River State at all, becomes the lowest hanging fruit for a turnaround of a people. There has never been a time where the world has needed love like now. And that love can be found when you share. That is why I think that Nigeria needs tourism. Now, again, we have just come out of reorganizing ourselves after 8 years of the other administration. And you know what happens in transition? Sweet and bitter. So we need to step up exchange of visits, families to begin to share great moments. The elections are over, the nation is back, interest must melt. And it's only in hospitality and in this tourism sector that we can find our bearing to recoup. After a hard-working experience, it's a hard-playing experience. And it is found in experience tourism. The icons of experience tourism are human relations. And that is why we say that tourism is life. So there is no other time. The world is reopening again, and we can't be left out. Thank you.
Some stakeholders had called for the inauguration of a National Tourism Development Master Plan, in line with the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025. And that fits with government's long-term aspiration as encapsulated in the Nigeria Agenda 2050. Any update on that now?
Well, for me, using what we are doing in Cross River State, the master plan is man-made. And if we continue to create new master plan, moving the period of turnaround or our period of achievement, we used to have the Vision 2017, Vision 2020, following the federal government economic recovery growth plan, starting from the era of President Obasanjo, right to Jonathan and to President Buhari, where the creative economy and the creative industries were put in the forefront. But for me, what we need to really look at is the review of our tourism policies to realign with international trends. Today, there are new tourism icons that are ruling the world. These are the frameworks that will lead us to achieving our period of strategic action plan. We are planning 2020 to 2025, 2020 to 2050, and we are not looking at the new trends in the world. We must look at the new trends internationally, domestically, with current trends. And we must be deliberate. What are these deliberate efforts we need to put in place? One, training. Two, training. Three, training. So that we can meet up with the current trends. And through stakeholding, through sharing of intelligence or an information, we will get there. There is no way we can stay right here in Calabar or Cross River State or in Nigeria and begin to uh, imagine what is going on in Kenya or South Africa or London. We must go out there, send our boys and girls to appreciate new trends. We in Cross River State, we identified six um, benchmark identities. We looked at our different icons of tourism and took on 6 international nations where we say we want to be like. We would like to be like South Africa in event tourism. We would like to be like Ghana in roots tourism because of the 2.8 million slaves that left Africa to the New World, 2.4 rather. 30.1% of that number passed through Calabar Cross River State. We know that if we go to Ghana, as we've been doing, we'll be able to reposition our Calabar Matilda Marina Resort to begin to welcome our brothers and sisters in the diaspora who want to reconnect with their past. Therein lies the tourist dollar and the repeat experience. So now we have experience tourism, we have responsible tourism, we have alternative tourism. So it is only when we review our policies, and we now marry it with our development plan that we are going to achieve this moving forward.
A safe and welcoming environment is a priority for all tourists, no doubt about that. Now, what measures are in place to prioritize safety and security of tourists with reference to the Calabar Carnival and other tourist attraction sites in Nigeria?
Okay, this brings me to the issue of responsible tourism. Responsible tourism is defined as that which engages the locals who are not abusing the environment. And how much can one really pay for peace? We should give our all for peace. And how do you give your all? By engaging the idle populace, by engaging the idle population, by engaging the youth, by engaging the women. And how do you engage the women? Tourist memorabilia, products. Engage them in tour guiding. Engage them in raffia making. Engage them in performance. Today, our easy key performance indicators is that there is a spring up of creative academies all over Cross River State. There are raffia companies. There are steel band groups, dance, voice training. And if you look at our Nigerian television today, most television commercials are all creative related. The talent. You ask a young boy now, what would you want to be? Nobody wants to tell you want to be a politician. Everybody wants to be Michael Jackson today. So, but therein lies the peace initiative because they are engaged. For example, for the preparation of Carnival Calabar, this weekend as I speak, we are preparing for the dry run. The dry run is a rehearsal. The dry run is information. The dry run is trying the systems on the 12-kilometer route. But in it, the young boys and girls are already rehearsing. The tailors are already making measurements for the costumes. Those who are interested in makeup will now begin to go and train. So they go home tired. So that in it, there is a truce between the law enforcement and the bad boys or the bad girls. Nobody wants to make trouble because it is time to go and play for benefit. It is time to go and work for benefit. It is time to offer visibility to the companies who are doing businesses here, but who want to see where they can have a meal of 1 million people. So tourism, Carnival Calabar is actually a pull factor that brings tourists to the city of Calabar. And after that, the tourists will begin to take on the unbeaten tracks. We have an oversupply already of tourism products in Cross River State that were initially said but have become man-made with our value addition. And this is what Carnival Calabar offered us. It is the pull factor and the direct opposite of idleness. It gets everybody engaged. It gets everybody busy. The young man is working. The company man is offering service, and his goods his, goods are, his, his, goods are safe overnight. There's no two ways to it.
Sir Gabe, how would you assess the roles of public-private partnership in the operations of tourism in Nigeria?
Well, this is an interesting topic, and I have been in the public service for like nearly 20 years now, and I know that our hold on the sector has almost made the private sector shine. But sustainability through inclusion of the private sector is the future. In developed climes, the public sector, government, provides the enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. Because it is when the private sector holds it that they protect it. I am an artist. I'm a visual artist. I'm a promoter of arts management. I manage people and resources in the arts industry. But I also know that it is the private sector that protects materials and recycles them for use, whereas government uses and dishes away. That trend has to change. Next door to us, I call it next door, Turkey is 5-6 hours. Their tourism had a turnaround just in 1985. They decided to be deliberate in the steps. And what did they do? They empowered the private sector. Stakeholding and sharing of intelligence between the private sector and the public sector provides that possibility where when government breaks the ice, provides the infrastructure, provides the training, the private sector does the day-to-day. And we all smile to our banks. What they need to do to the public sector now, we ensure that we track visitor arrival, track visitor spend, and ensure that the tourism development levies are paid. When we went to Jamaica and we went to Trinidad and Tobago for our tourism training and carnival training, when we arrived at the airport, we paid arrival tax. As we were leaving, we paid tourism departure tax. Otherwise, you will not get a boarding pass. These are all areas of revenue that are waiting to be taxed. And we can't be emotional in this sector. You cannot underwrite anybody's leisure. Anybody who is kind enough to want to visit Kaduna, to visit Bauchi, to visit Cross River State, to pay for his holidays. And I'm sure our people are ready. People are working hard and they should play hard. Parents are having it tough to pay school fees. But I tell you, you need every opportunity to recreate, to come back heavy.
How would placing tourism on the concurrent list impact on the tourism sector?
It's a very big one. I know since 1999, the federal government has been trying to get this going. And the tourism supply, product supply in this country are too much for one authority to get it right. We need to collaborate. Yes, our federalism is a fledgling one for so long, but we have, you can see that governors have become very strong and interested in this sector because everybody wants their youth to be meaningfully engaged. So it is too much for the center to run it all. We need this collaboration through the devolution. The states should be allowed to develop their sites and make contributions to the center. The example we did in Cross River State, when we were trying to organize our regulatory framework, we established a strong marketing and standards unit because without standards, the services of the sector will fail. And there is no way you can wait for inspectors to come from Abuja. It will be spoon feeding, it will be underappreciating what God has given to you because God Himself worked when He created the world. So we must be working to upgrade our facilities to invite the visitors. So I am agreeing that we will be happier and better off if tourism is actually placed in the concurrent in all its ramifications. And I know the area of interest is in registration of hotels, but it is not the only way. What about the identification of the sites and value addition to it? Registration of hotels and its accruables is just the end product of it. So we must go back to the drawing board and be sincere. Again, we have also known that it is when you leave the noise making in the class to the noise maker that you get peace. So the owners of this product should protect the products. And that brings us to the community-based tourism initiative. The community buying is only achieved when the community is engaged in protecting theirs. They'll call it our own, not government or not their own. So I agree that we should look at this strongly, and I know the present leadership will definitely begin to look at this in line with world trends.
The Open Skies Agreement, a key component of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, is meant to transform Nigeria's tourism landscape. How can stakeholders leverage on this despite challenges with air transportation in Nigeria?
Okay, the true challenge we've had as a people is the lack of seamless service, seamless travel, even within our region. The great jazz master Yanni says, when you're flying through the continents or the countries of the world, you don't see lines. Lines only exist in maps. So truly, Africa, we are one, and we must be deliberate. So I agree that we should domicile the laws that affect us under the regional laws, so that there will be seamless travel with charter and high frequencies within the region. By so doing, if we want to get it right, we should extend our ECOWAS passport to Africa. Africa should have a common travel document. The trade will be more seamless. The trade will be more lucrative, and it will be a win-win for all of us. So I think for the charter services and the movement of cargo, it would have been an added advantage to every one of us. So the time is right, and the Gulf of Guinea agreement, which was, I think, perfect about 2021, it is time for us to begin to implement. Enough of the boardroom.
How can we improve the range of required skills and capacity necessary to provide quality services and experience for personnel within the tourism industry?
Okay, Lydia, I wish you asked me to use the crossover set example, to showcase for you. At the risk of being misunderstood, this is a sector that you must be deliberate in all its steps. There are building blocks for a sustainable tourism initiative. When you identify the products, you identify focus areas in training and human resource capacity. You cannot be serving the visitors, picking your nose, picking your hair, making faces. You must be cheerful. This, the Crossivarian comes with it free of charge, given to us by God, and our own gift to the world. But again, I said Turkey became deliberate recently. 1985 is not too far, and they've gotten it right. Turkey is even gone into marketing religious tourism, because the great religious sites of the Bible, we used to hear Corinth and all that, are all located in their neighborhood there. You understand? I'm sorry I'm using this because they have been quite bullish in coming to take a share of our tourism receipts, taking their tourism receipts from Nigeria and Africa recently. But again, coming back to required skills and capacity, I said earlier, for this sector to work, 1, training, 2, training, 3, training. We must train first, product knowledge. 2, PR. 3, history. And the last one, what God has given to every man. It doesn't cost money. Truth, love, and conscience. People will come. When we commenced our tourism initiative in 1999 in Calabar, we came back from Jamaica, about 24 of us. The then governor, His Excellency Governor Donald Duke, asked us, we started teaching all the frontliners, the police, the immigration at the airport, school teachers, information officers, protocol officers. Then it was launched into the school curriculum from primary school to secondary school. Then we established a tourism and hospitality department in the state university, so that these children graduated from primary to secondary with the introduction to tourism, to certification, and to now degree. The University of Calabar also has a degree awarding department now for tourism. There has to be a deliberate effort to train our children. Then, of course, peer group review, which I said earlier, in stakeholding. But you must get this primary certification. When we went to Jamaica with our big degrees, you had to drop it to get the first module, which is Introduction to Tourism, Product Knowledge, and Product Development. So there are no two ways to it. You cannot give what you do not have, but you can acquire it. And this is what I recommend for Nigeria. We must be deliberate. Our young boys and young girls who hitherto have been fairly idle or feel left out can gain easy livelihoods through this sector. And we are ready examples here. Thank you.
Would you subscribe to a functional tourism development fund? And how do you think we can bring that into reality?
Well, every responsible government would like to look at the area of competitive advantage and an area that can act as a quick win or low-hanging fruit for her people. Then you cannot be shy to spend on this sector. So the Tourism Development Fund, for me, instead of even declaring a tourism emergency in the country, the federal government should be deliberate in providing this facility for the private sector and kick in an M&E, monitoring and evaluation. That has been lacking. We received the NBA call that were domiciled with us for 2 years. We received another technical team from IBM Machine, the international ICT machine from America. They lived with us here. They offloaded in-time training to us, then gave grants to the sector players. So a development fund is critical, but we need a strong monitoring and evaluation body so that we can, as we go, we look at the milestones and we check it off. There can be a better time than now. Again, I'm saying that COVID did not spare anybody. Most of the people who were in tourism businesses were the most hit, and most of them are unable to recover. So it is a low-hanging fruit because the spiral benefits of the job opportunities, direct employment and indirect employment, are immeasurable.
What would you consider as the strengths of the current frameworks for tourism in Nigeria?
Lydia, I don't know what you want me to say here, other than the strength of our Nigerian people, the NTDC, the NTAC, and their leadership, and our Ministry of Tourism leadership. You can see passion. You can see passion because knowledge cannot be borrowed. So you can see what we are offering. We have an oversupply already of tourism products. I think what the Nigerian man has going for him is they can do spirit. I don't want to speak to this more than this. The can do spirit has remained our biggest tonic. And remember that has been what has been propelling us. Is it our sports tourism icon? Is it our creative icon? Is it our Nollywood? Is it our Afrobeats? Today, our boys, our musical artists, name them. I don't want to promote anyone here, but name their circles, name the whatever. They are flying on private jets.
Now, let's hear from you. What is the way forward, or what will be your recommendations for the tourism sector in Nigeria?
I would like to give kudos to the federal government that ab initio identified tourism as one of our strong development alternative sources for revenue that can also empower our young and upcoming population. Again, the present administration and leadership has demonstrated the outcome of the NIPSS 2004-2007 and the economic regulatory Recovery Growth Plan of 2017 to 2020, where the creative economy was given center stage, and its implementation can already be seen in the creation of a standalone ministry of arts, culture, and the creative economy under a very resourceful personality as the lady we have out there as the present minister, Barrister Hanatu. I also think that the cheapest way to fight hunger in our climate today is to look at this very low-hanging fruit. And this low-hanging fruit is actually the creative economy, as seen in what our boys and girls have exported to the world through Nollywood, through Afrobeats, through Carnival Calabar. And the only way to marry all these experiences is in a robust PPP framework. It will galvanize the private sector through the agencies of the new ministry, the Arts, Culture, and Creative Ministry under this great woman. I believe the country will be happier for it. Our youths are quite very hungry now to use their intellect, to use their hands to survive. A lot of them live on the systems. They live on artificial intelligence. And that is where decision makers who decide on where to go to yearly to spend their monies stay. So we cannot be left out. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Gabe Ona, for sharing your thoughts with us, and we wish you successful festivities on the biggest street carnival in Africa. Thank you indeed, we're grateful.
As we all know, insecurity has eaten deep into that multi-billion-dollar industry. Insecurity has diminished the attraction of tourism. So the government needs to get its act security-wise first, because nobody would want to, or no nation would want their nationals to dare into places where insecurity pervade. So first and foremost, it is the Argungu Festival. If I remember to, one of the past editions was halted as a result of insecurity in that enclave. So the government needs to first of all deal with the issue of insecurity. Egypt today, they live on tourism. Basically, Egypt is on tourism. Morocco, the same. So Nigeria is a unique and diverse and blessed country. We have different beautiful cultures that in the past we've exhibited. Even on the plateau, we have a lot of tourist sites on the plateau here. So basically, it still comes down to we solving the security issue.
We don't need to depend on this oil result. All this our tourism. If we depend on it, if our government invest on this one, we are going to get more revenue and we are going to take the state forward.
You see so many countries, they are developed because the part of developing the culture itself, its own is part of tourism. And as you said, the Argungu Fishing Festival and the one we have in Calabar, you see all those ones are very important, and I know that they generate a lot of revenue for those states. The government should look at ways of improving the culture or improving the celebration of the culture in every state. So this cannot happen unless the government puts its hand on them. If that can be maintained, that tempo can be maintained, believe you me, people will come from wide and near, within the country and even outside the country, to come and partake in that. And with that one, we will see so many generation of revenue into the state. On its own is tourism. Apart from the geographical landscape and all those tourist attractions, culture itself is tourism.
I think government should think about it very well and then try to encourage all these diversities and then bringing people together We have different cultures, we have different tribes that have all their cultures. I think if government will key onto that, it's going to help a lot. It's going to bring about the unity of the country at large, and then people will come together.
Hello and thanks for joining us today on Alumni Chat. Our guest today is Brigadier General W.D. Nasir Emina. Sir, it's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being with you.
Thank you, sir. So, can you tell us how was your background in the military?
I'm Brigadier General W.D. Nasir, as you know. I started my military career in 1993 with the Nigerian Defense Academy. I was commissioned on 25th September 1993. I grew along the rank from the rank of lieutenant to captain, major, lieutenant colonel, and brigadier general. I am with the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps.
So, can you tell us what was your experience as a participant?
Well, I was a participant in the National Institute in 2017. Senior Executive Course 39, and I was in study group 2. It was a life-changing experience. It was something that turned my life around. That was the first time I came in contact with issues of policy formulation, policy implementation. That was the first time I started having complete basics on strategy and leadership. So my experience as a participant in the National Institute is a life-changing experience. I met a lot of people also here. We made a lot of friends, lifelong friends. Since we are here, we are still friends. And it's really a rewarding experience.
So, can you tell us how has that experience impacted in your person and in your career?
Yes, as I always tell my participants, your opportunity to be in the National Institute is life-changing. If you come to the National Institute, you can never leave the National Institute the same person. You will learn a lot about governance. You will learn a lot about policy making. You will learn a lot about strategy and leadership, time management. You even learn how to manage group study, group research, group discussions, group excursions, group study tours. So it's a life-changing experience.
Now you're here as a directing staff. Can you tell us what brought about that? How you came back as a directing staff?
I finished my senior executive course in 2017. I went back to Army headquarters. That was where I was working before I came here in the office of Chief Army Staff. And in 2021, the military secretary posted me back to the institute as a directing staff. And when I came here, I came around in 1st of August 2021. I met that should be Sec 42 that have been very far in their studies. They were preparing to go for their African study tour, and I joined them immediately. And I was lucky, I was posted directly to my alma mater study group 2. Wow. So it is not difficult for me to quickly adjust, because the directing staff that I took over from, I did not even meet him here, has already gone. So I immediately stepped in, and we continue with the African study tour. And from there up to now, it has been very rewarding, very good.
I would go a bit personal now. Can you tell us what's your philosophy of life?
Well, the life philosophy of an individual is not much different from his upbringing. And philosophy about hard work, philosophy about honesty, philosophy about community service, philosophy about group leadership is something that we have imbibed right from childhood, from my family. I come from a family of 22 children. Yeah, so, and I happen to be among the junior ones. So I have a lot of, and my father was almost 80 when I was born. So I'm always close to him. He's a Muslim from Katsina State. Alaji Owadusema is a renowned figure. And right from that upbringing, we have adopted a policy of or philosophy of hard work, philosophy of honesty, philosophy of agreeing with each other, philosophy of meeting people that you have not seen before and you work with them together. And up to my primary school, in my primary school, we came from different backgrounds. There were a lot of Yorubas in my classroom. A lot of, in fact, I was trained by Indians. My primary 5 to 6, we had permanently Indian teachers. We have in my town there is a universal teachers UPE, Universal Primary Education Teachers College, where we had a lot of people from different background coming for teaching practices in our. So we embrace people that are not from our place, and that shape our philosophy, a philosophy of respecting people. And that is what we came and met in the National Institute. Philosophy of hard work, you meet it in the National Institute. Philosophy of group work, you also meet it here. Respect for each other, you also meet it here in your study group. So from my philosophy of life to the philosophy that I met in the National Institute, I easily blend, and we continue like that.
Well, that's good and interesting to know. So, becoming a member of the National Institute, which is the MNI, and you are now a member of the Association of Alumnus of the National Institute, what is your take on the narrative that ANI is seen as an elitist group?
Well, ANI is a national association. It has branches from all the states of the federation. And ANI is meant to contribute to national development, to talk to policy, to look at solve problem, just like the motto of the National Institute, towards a better society. So ANI is a reflection of the society and thinking of how to better that society. Looking at ANI as elitist, maybe it's because of the entry requirement into the National Institute. You cannot be a member of National Institute if you are below 40. You cannot be accepted in a National Institute if you are not up to a director in the Federal Civil Service. You cannot be accepted unless if you are a permanent secretary in the State Civil Service. As a military person, you must be of the rank of a colonel to be in the National Institute. So that maybe high requirement may tend to make ANI members as elites of the society. And we always say it, that anybody that is opportune to come here to talk to national policy, we can consider him as an elite. But ANI is for service. ANI is for betterment of society. It's not of thinking of who you are or wearing the yellow badge. No, it's what you can offer the nation. And that is why you will see in most of their meetings, ANI will always bring national issues and discuss them, either in the form of a seminar, in form of a conference, or in the form of a talk to see how they can help make recommendation and implementation strategies for the government.
That's very, very interesting. Now, can you tell us how impactful has ANI been to the Institute? What role do they play, aside just being members of the National Institute? What role do they play, and how impactful has it been to the Institute?
Well, I have not been really too much into the like officials of ANI, But I know that ANI have a very strong liaison with the National Institute. Every year, ANI will come here and deliver lectures to new participants about ANI, its organization, its activities. And ANI also liaise with the National Institute on issues that are affecting the alma mater, that is the National Institute. And there was a time where even proposing that some members of ANI is supposed to be on the board of the National Institute so that ANI can always have a first-hand information about what is happening in the National Institute and see areas that they can assist. And because of the widespread of ANI members all over the country and in almost all spheres of life, if there is anything National Institute wants and if it goes through ANI, ANI will do its best to ensure that the Institute got what it wants.
Or interesting ending to this chat. I want to thank you, sir, for giving us your time. I missed your tight schedule. We seriously appreciate you for that. And we hope that when next we need you, you avail us your time again.
Well, thank you very much. I'm always available.
Thank you for that open invitation, sir.
Thank you.
So we have been talking to Brigadier General W.D. Nasir MNI, who is one of the director staff here at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. This is the much we can take today on Alumni Chat. More to come after the break.
Nigeria stands at the fringes of a transformative era in its tourism industry by harnessing the vast opportunities that abound and addressing the challenges posed by inadequate investment in this sector. The tourism sector can be propelled to new heights. There is need for all stakeholders in the industry to awaken to their responsibilities and collaboratively work towards the growth of the sector. The value chain of Nigeria's tourism economy is vast, from the hospitality sector to aviation and transportation, destination management, souvenir production, event packaging, carnivals, festivals, and cultural promotions, among others. The opportunities of leveraging this key growth sector to create jobs, shore up revenue, and add to the nation's GDP are limitless. And that's about it on the program today. Thank you for watching. God has blessed Nigeria abundantly. Let's tap from it. I am Lydia Odijochi. See you next time.
Keep watching.
Keep watching. Keep watching NIPSS Policy TV.